How do you ground yourself in a stressful and chaotic world? Well, it has to do with awareness. Without awareness, your attention is just lost in thought. With awareness, you can direct your attention more purposefully to process the stress that you're experiencing. To ground yourself in awareness requires understanding the unmoved mind of awareness. This mind is still, it's stopped, and it's unmoving. And from it, you can take effective action with the flexible and agile mind of attention. To ground yourself in awareness requires waking up. From a mental training perspective, waking up means that you realize and recognize that your attention was lost in thought. So in this lesson, you're going to learn the difference between unconscious awareness and conscious awareness. With conscious awareness, you know you're awake. And this is the goal for the unmoved mind. I covered these two minds in my lesson on creating a free mind. So number one, you have an unmoved mind of awareness, and then you have a flexible and agile mind of attention. The unmoved mind is a field of awareness. You can be aware of your body, sounds, sights, emotions, the external environment, etc. This field of awareness is expansive. It contains everything. The flexible, agile mind of attention is awareness intentionally directed toward tasks. You direct awareness towards specifics within a larger field of awareness. This creates attention. You can direct attention to your body. Doing this pulls awareness from everything and directs it toward something. We'll explore the flexible, agile mind in the next warrior lesson, number 17. The unmoved mind of awareness stands still like a mountain. It's still, stopped, and unmoving, and this grounds you for taking effective action. You can experience the unmoved mind in meditation. Instead of having an object, something to focus on, you expand awareness to everything. This expansive awareness allows you to notice when something arises. You notice sensations, sounds, images, thoughts arise of their own accord and likewise disappear. You don't do anything, you simply notice. This develops this observer, this witness position. In climbing, when you stop, you're still and unmoved. You don't move, you're stopped. Here you can expand your awareness to everything. And then you can notice something within this container. You can notice muscle tension. You can notice thoughts come up in your mind. You can notice the next section of the rock. And from this expansive awareness grounding, you can then direct your attention toward resting, information gathering, decision making, and then, of course, taking action. Are you asleep or are you awake? Now, this may seem like a stupid question to you, but from a mental training perspective, what I mean is when you're asleep, your attention is lost in thought, just running along habituated neural pathways. You may think, I know that I'm not asleep, but to know something requires consciousness. And here we want to explore the difference between unconscious awareness and conscious awareness. With unconscious awareness, you're somewhat aware of doing the task, but you don't know that you're aware. Knowing you're aware brings consciousness to the situation. With unconscious awareness, attention is split between the body and the mind. You have some attention focused on the actual task you're doing, but some attention dwells in the mind. You're thinking about the task or thinking about something unrelated. With conscious awareness, you're aware of doing the task and you know that you're aware. You're conscious that you're aware. Here, your attention is focused on the actual task with minimal distraction to thinking about what you're doing or thinking about something else. Central to the unmoved mind is waking up, to be awake. And this requires waking up over and over and over again throughout your day. And this is how it relates to the warrior master skill that I've introduced in a previous lesson. You're constantly noticing and redirecting your attention to the task. When you're asleep, your attention and your thinking are tightly hooked together. It eliminates any kind of a gap to occur so that you can be aware of what's going on. By creating this gap, you bring awareness to consciousness. And to wake up, you have to create this gap. To do this unhooking, you need to experience the different ways of using your attention. You can focus it cognitively in the mind on thinking, or you can focus it somatically on the body and senses. As you're doing this mental training, you start getting more and more familiar with the machinations of the mind, the tendencies of the mind. And one thing you recognize is the mind has a tendency to let attention dwell in thinking, to dwell in the mind, running along the neural pathways. So when you experience somatic attention, then you can notice these distractions better. It heightens your awareness of this gap between thinking and awareness. And this is necessary for not being lost in thought, for not reacting, and for being able to direct your attention more intentionally. When you expand this gap, you're creating the observer or witness position, your ability to notice what's going on in your experience. This reveals the unmoved mind of awareness, and it allows you to apply the warrior master skill of noticing and redirecting your attention that I've introduced in other lessons. This is foundational to your mental training. You can use stressful events to unhook thinking from awareness. What are you thinking before entering a stressful event? What are you thinking during a stressful event? And what are you thinking after a stressful event is over? Engaging in these stressful events is an opportunity to observe the mind. When you're observing the mind like this, it helps create a gap of awareness. It allows you to be the observer or witness of your experience. It allows you to unhook thinking from awareness. Now, you can use cold plunges as a stressful event to do this observation, to do this unhooking. You can jump into a lake or a stream or take cold showers. Now, you may think that the benefit for doing cold plunges is that you convince yourself that you can do something hard. In other words, when your mind says no to the stressful event, you do it anyway. But there's a problem with this from a mental training perspective. And that problem has to do with motivation. The motivation usually is comfort-based and end result oriented. In other words, you want to get it over with. You're seeking the comfort at the end of the stressful event. From a mental training perspective, the usefulness is it's an opportunity to observe the mind. You observe before. The mind has all kinds of thoughts about why you shouldn't do it, or how terrible it will be. You know it'll be good for you, but you hate doing it. During. The mind is distracted by wanting to be at the end, when it's over. This distracts attention from the body. It diminishes your ability to process the stress of the cold water. After. The mind is congratulating itself for having survived the stressful event. Now you feel good about yourself because you did something hard. By observing the mind, you can reverse your motivation. You can direct your attention more purposefully. In other words, you can be consciously aware and know what you're doing. You know you're aware because before. You notice the mind think about how terrible it will be and how much you'll hate it. You know you're aware because you see how your mind naturally resists stress prior to engaging it. You can take effective action from this conscious awareness. You take action by smiling and engaging anyway. During. You notice the mind think about wanting to be finished. You notice you're aware because you see how the mind naturally resists being in the stressful cold water. You can take effective action from this conscious awareness. You take action by focusing on breathing and relaxing into the cold water. After, you notice the mind think about how you're a good person for having the courage to do such hard things. You know you're aware because you see how the mind naturally ties your identity to outcomes. You can take effective action from this conscious awareness. You take effective action by focusing on your effort, not the outcome. By observing the mind, you can understand the difference between thinking and awareness. This helps you unhook them. It creates a gap so you can be aware, so you can be the witness or the observer of your experience. This grounds you in the unmoved mind. You can smile at how your mind is talking to you and do what you intended anyway with consciousness.